My name's Danny Stevenson. I'm part owner of Hi-Lite Feedlot with my son. We started here in 1979, brother and I. Had 1,000 head, and then as time moved on, our two boys bought my brother out, and we expanded the lot up to 7,500 head by about 2002. We actually quit feeding cattle in 2012. We were having labor issues, and we'd had a couple of years of really wet weather, and our fencing was getting in bad shape, and we decided just to grain farm. And then we started up again in October of 2020. I think the most stressful part of feeding cattle before is worrying about employees and the turnover in staff that we had, and it's just that kind of a job that it's really hard. We did have some good people. We also had turnover all the time, and it was always, I mean, you get 7,500 head in here, and at that time there's more custom cattle, but when we stopped feeding cattle, we were over 5,000 that we owned ourselves, and we had a lot of risk, and we were starting to have a lot of issues with people working for us, and it was pretty stressful.
When I grew up, we always had the feedlot was full, and there was never any time to do anything really. It just was like you just worked lots, and you did some. You know, you had some free time once in a while, but it wasn't much. And then we got out of the cattle and just grain farmed, and I always wondered what it would be like to not be busy, and it sucks actually. It's not that much fun. So I had to find some hobbies. I think probably the one main thing in my mind that I want to see going forward is that everybody in the family is more involved. It was more, I think before when we did it, it was just business. It was all about the business, and I'd like to see more family involvement. You know, wives, girlfriends, everybody just being involved in it. I think it just longevity-wise, I think it's important to the longevity of a business that nobody feels excluded or like they don't have a role in it. It's nice to see it getting rebuilt, you know, when you stop a feedlot like we did and just park it. It's amazing how quickly it goes backwards, you know, and I don't know if it's a lack of, just because normally you do that little bit of maintenance all the time, but so they've worked pretty hard at rebuilding fences and equipment and just getting everything back, and we've got 1 or 2 more years of really fine-tuning everything to get it back to where we want it. Danny does more of the cattle marketing and I do more of the grain marketing, or that's what we've done in the past. What we're kind of slowly trying to do is get the boys, one of them to do, Bo or Cash will do the cattle marketing, and the other one will do some grain, and then maybe flip them after a while. And then I guess the ultimate goal at the end of it all is I'm in Arizona and don't know what's going on anymore.
We started out last year with all calves. For whatever reason, this year we ended up buying a lot of yearlings. I think by not having the staff anymore, and just we don't have to run full. We can, if the calf market or the feeder market looks wrong and we don't think we can make it work, we just stay away from it, and we don't have to feed cattle. Like, we can pick our spot, and the risk management side of it is done through contracting now. And last year we did probably too many. This year I did probably 60% of the cattle as they arrived, and now once they're weigh sorted, then I can start upping that number, because now I know when them cattle are going to go out of here. The feed mill area, when we quit feeding, we didn't really tear any of that apart or sell any of it off because we didn't know if we'd be using it again. The same thing with the head gate and everything was still there.
For the most part, our handling facility is pretty permanent. You got the S-alley, silencer, head gate, really hydraulic, so very quiet, very easy to use for the most part, I'd say. Scale head for weights, pretty accurate, and then the 4 sorting doors. And basically the only point of them is weigh sorting, which makes it really easy to, it's for shipping way down the line, get the weight pretty consistent. The one change we've made is with the matting, obviously. It's basically just like 1.5 inch thick rubber, just softer on their feet than concrete. It seems like they get better traction with it and stuff. I've noticed since we started they're a lot calmer. Even their demeanor is a lot better going through. They're not scrambling and slipping and getting stressed out over that.
Using a different software package now than what we used to have, so that's kind of helping eliminate some of the secretary work or clerical work. It's all done by Bluetooth now and makes life a lot easier. We were on the program when we first brought cattle back into the feedlot, so it wasn't a matter of having to get up to speed with it or anything. Right from day one we went with it. It was recommended to us by our nutritionist. It's an easier to use, lower end kind of, it's not a Cadillac where it's super complicated, but it actually makes it so that we don't have to have as many people.
With performance beef, we had heard about it and did a live demo thing online. We purchased a scale head with the Bluetooth attachment for the feed truck and 2 iPads. And the iPads have to have data on them. That's about all it is to get started. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Everything pairs together. To start out with, you'll show up to work, check the feed bunks, and we use our phones, the app on our phones. So you go through on your phone, make the changes to rations, bunk scoring, all that stuff's done in there. You hit confirm at the end of it all. It's done, it loads it. Then when you get in the feed truck, you load your barley, supplement, all those ingredients in there. Hit confirm. Go to the pit, jump in the loader, there's another iPad in there, hit all your ingredients, and every ingredient as you put them in, it confirms it and saves it, puts it into the system. So then you go back into the iPad, go to the delivery mode, and as you're feeding, it'll tell you what pen, how many pounds. As you feed it, you're confirming those, and it's automatically saving it. And the really good part about it is that whether it's your ingredients, your delivery, whatever it is, as you're confirming that, so it'll tell you to shoot for, say, 2,000 pounds. If you put 2,050 pounds and confirm it, that's what it bills for. So you're getting billed for the exact amount you're putting in. Because before when we did it, you'd have a paper and you write it down, and the guy was, yep, I put 2,000 pounds in. Well, he didn't put 2,000 pounds, he probably put 2,050 or pounds, and it was likely almost always over. The inventory, you enter it in as it's coming in, and you can set up the parameters in there, so it'll actually, I think it'll text you too if you want, but it'll email you when your inventory gets down to, if you say you want it to alert you at 10% left, it'll send you an alert saying, hey, you need to order more supplement, or your barley bin's getting low, or whatever. And same with the other part of the emails too, is every day it emails you at the end of the day, and it'll tell you all of your, it's like a little report card. It'll say, this is what you shot for, this is what was fed, and every pen. And if the guy in the feed truck, which I do once in a while because I screw up and then I go in and edit it because I forgot to push the button to start or something or whatever, then it actually squeals on you and it rats you out and says, you edited this. So if you screw up, it shows up too. It's pretty good. The price was reasonable, and the demo we did, it just seemed really simple. It's not, we've had other things in the past and just so complicated, and you got to be half a computer geek to run them, and this is just so easy to, any cowboy can get in there, and yeah, it takes you 1 or 2 days to play with it, and kind of as you're using it, and you'll screw up and do the wrong thing and figure out how to correct it. After 1 or 2 days, it's easy. The billing part is actually excellent because it's just, you put in your prices and everything and it just automatically bills it, and you're getting billed for exactly what's being fed. We treat ourselves just like if we were custom feeding somewhere else, and you really kind of have to, because if you're not charging yourself for the right amount, the market value for the barley, the roughage, everything, then you're really just, you might as well be custom feeding the cattle and getting that money out of custom feeding them. So, and if the cattle can't make any money and you're charging what you should be charging, then you probably just shouldn't be feeding them. So
we have 5 different rations that we feed that a nutritionist gave us, and it just starts like the ration 10, we call it. and that's the most forage in that ration, and that's just a good ration to start with a high barley silage like as a base, just to start calves, get them coming to the bunk. We feed hay in there as well, and just a little bit of barley just to get them used to it. And they'll work their way up to ration 20, which is kind of an in-between ration 10 and 30, just to get them towards the grower ration. So now once they've gotten to the grower ration, they're at about 40% barley in that ration, and the rest is forage and a little bit of hay and DDGS, which is a very palatable product we feed, and straw. It typically takes about a week to 2 weeks to get them progressed from a ration 10 to a ration 20. And then from the ration 20, it's another week or two to get to the ration 30. So it might take a little over a month or so to get them onto that ration 30, which we call a grower ration. And that's just a higher forage ration. So we want to see that they're eating, I think, roughly 2% of their body weight. So it's based off what they're eating compared to their body weight. And as they get bigger, obviously they're going to eat more, and they're going to eat more relative to their body weight. And that's just a good indicator of when we'll increase them and when we're going to change the ration. But there is other factors such as the weather and the environment around them on how quickly we'll increase them. This year we cut about 4,000 wet tons of barley silage, and that's all grown on like the closer land that we have, that we also in return manure, and that just helps us like have a good reliable source of feed, and it's cheaper for transporting to the feedlot. And we determine what we want to roll and what we want to grow as far as silage goes. We're getting into walker combines with claws, and essentially they're a conventional combine, and they're able to actually leave the straw fairly unscathed and creates very nice bedding. So we bale all of our own straw, and as far as hay goes, we put up a little bit of hay, but we typically buy that off the neighbors, and all of the straw and hay is tub ground with 3-inch screens in the tub grinder, and that just gives us a good consistent size of straw length and hay length that we can use to manage our feeding. We found that when we had longer straw, the cattle would sift through and they wouldn't eat it, and then we had to consistently blow the bunks, and it was a waste of money and time. We decided to get into feeding DDGs. It's a very palatable product, and it smells good feeding it too. So by coffee time, I'm usually kind of hungry. We used to feed a little bit of molasses in with the ration, but we found that DDGs is actually a bit of a replacement for the molasses, for us not being able to acquire molasses, and it's actually worked out to a little bit better energy levels than barley as well. It is a fairly expensive product to feed, and the price varies, but as far as consumptions goes, I think it's paid off. Typically we're able to get DDGs out from Manitoba or find it somewhere, but it is fairly easy to source, and just the important thing is to make sure you get a contract with the company that you're sourcing it from, and a consistent flow of it, because if you go off DDGs, the cattle take a pretty hard hit for their feed consumption. So it's not something you want to switch back and forth from. You want to be consistent with feeding it, and you want to commit to it if you're going to start. Essentially, we take in barley through our 360,000 bushel bins, and we'll fill those up in the fall or whenever we can kind of get a good deal or help neighbors clean up grain bags. We auger up side of a bank, and that augers down into a leg. And then after it gets to the leg, we can choose between going into our 40,000 bushel silo for more storage, I guess, and space, or into our surge bins. And then from the surge bins, we have an east and west surge bin, and then they're about 5,000 bushel capacity. And from there, we can actually roll right out of those bins, and then that gets legged back up into overhead bins for the feed truck, and we just feed that rolled stuff basically on demand, and we roll on demand, and it works well. It keeps a fresh product, and we can keep an eye too on how much fines and how many whole kernels we have, and really fine tune the feeding process for ourselves so we don't end up in a wreck. You definitely want to be rolling kind of as you're feeding it and keeping a close eye on that feed. 5% fines is kind of the maximum amount of fines you can have. So we really try and standard 5% fines and no whole kernels at all. We take a sample of the barley from the roller mill. I set the scale to 200 grams. That way it gives us enough weight that we can get a good average on the fines. We have 3 screens, and the bottom one catches the fines. We have the smallest screen, and that's what's gonna sift through the fines that we care about that are gonna affect the animal's gut health and potentially cause bloating and all that bad stuff. And then this screen essentially separates the kernel from the fines that kind of sift through here. So just 3 ways of doing it, and we're really watching for the fines and whole kernels. It's like you're mining for gold or something. Do this for a little while and think about your life and how crappy the day has been or not been. We kind of got it all separated now. The first screen here, we're looking to see whole kernels. Everything's kind of cracked. Otherwise, we know that we need to tighten the rolls and we need to restart. Anything that isn't cracked at all, and I don't see anything in here, so that's good. But anything that isn't cracked, that's just gonna go right through that animal's gut, and you're gonna get no value for that feed. Kind of like when you eat corn, the next day it's still there. Now that we've identified that there's no whole kernels in this barley and that everything's been cracked, we can start to weigh this. We have a sheet here just to keep track of the date, which roller mill, since we have 2 that we're checking. So 200 grams we put in there. We have 192 on the kernels that have been processed and without fines. And now these are kind of the fines that you want to keep an eye on them, but they're not as big of a deal. It's nothing that's really gonna be detrimental to your ration. But as you can see here, we don't have a lot of it anyways. We have 192 for grams for the stuff that we first checked. And that was the good barley that was rolled properly. And then we have 7 grams of the stuff that just the little bits and pieces of barley that are broken up that won't cause an issue. So we're at 199, which leaves us with 1 gram, hardly anything really, of the fines. So this is the stuff you want to keep an eye on. These fines can be bad for gut health and cause bloating and other issues. And just a good reminder is 5% is kind of the cutoff for how much fines you want when you're rolling barley. So what we do here to come up with a good dry matter is we try to weekly or twice a week take a sample of the ration itself that we're feeding, and we put it in this oven and dry it down so there's no moisture in it. And then we use that to figure out the percentage of moisture in there, and we know what the dry matter is that we're feeding. And we also take one of just the silage, because as you go through the silage pit, the dry matter could change, could be drastic depending on what field you did and when, or not. But you want to make sure that you're accurate with what you're feeding and what the dry matter intake is.
We had shortage of water, which is, I guess, probably a common problem as you add more pens of cattle, and we were trying to operate off of 2 deep wells, and they're each about 20 gallons a minute. But we couldn't get enough water at 10 o'clock in the morning after the cattle had first eaten, and we'd run short of pressure. So what we did was we made a holding pond and have the deep wells pump into there 24 hours a day, and now we have a bigger pump that pumps out of the holding pond to supply the feedlot, because the demand is more not 24 hours, it's more probably from 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. So, and it's really solved the problem. We actually only run 1 deep well now because it'll supply enough water, because it can pump 24 hours a day. And what we found was by pumping the water out of the deep wells, and how an iron filter works is it injects air into the water and the iron particles will separate. Well, as you pump the water into the pond and it's open on the top, the air gets in it and actually the water quality is better. It's pumped into the shop here in a 7.5 horsepower pump. And there's a manifold that distributes it to different areas of the feedlot. We can turn off one area if we're not using it, or if we have an issue or something, we can shut down one part of it. Or the one mistake I think we made though was not using big enough water lines, because we kept adding to them all the time. The new stuff we put in is 2-inch, but all the old stuff is all 1.25 inch, and it's there's a lot of water going through 1.25 inch water lines. It solved our problem of being short of water.
We've got our own bred cows, so we can kind of control a little bit of our supply. I don't know, it's just so cool to watch every single day. You just watch them grow and grow and grow, and watch how they develop, and you just get to see the entire picture instead of just a brief snapshot of what happens. Coffee's kind of where you just sit down and have a briefing or a debriefing of what happened, what we can do, what we can't do, what we can do better, what we should have done, just kind of all the basics. Learning how to do it basically has been my favorite part so far. Being able to run with assistance a feedlot with my brother and my grandpa and my dad, it's pretty cool.
I don't think there's too many people in the world that have the opportunity to live, not just work with their kids, but live right beside them and watch your grandkids grow up, and we're quite fortunate that way.